Oh, that's right. We are lucky enough to be blessed with the presence of a guy that is on fire right now. He is the main event December 9th at the Mohegan Sun. Danny Sabatello going for $1 million to get one step closer to it. He's got to beat the interim champ and take that belt in facing Rafion Stots. My man, how are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
It don't get no better than this. Come on, man. Look at me. We get to talk to you. We get to sit here and just, shoot the shit. Because I'm being honest, you have pumped life into this Bantamweight World Grand Prix. You've not been in Bellator that long. You're 3 fights in. You came in, you took on a tough guy in Brett Johns. Then you went and they basically put you into that tournament. But you have been on fire, dude. And the way you talk, it's catching everyone's, everyone is noticing. Everyone is saying, dude, is this guy for real? And the best part is you're just being you.
Well, absolutely. Danny, before you get started, I want to say that John said you pumped life into the Bantamweight tournament. My brother, you pumped life into Bellator. You have done this.
I fucking love it.
I got to take it that step further.
It works great because I am just being myself, and I think once I started out, people didn't really know if I was putting on some show or some gimmick, but I think the fans have kind of become intelligent enough to realize this is truly who I am, and not only am I talking, but I'm backing it up with my performances. Obviously I had a great opportunity to fight Brett Johns on short notice, who's an absolute stud, and not only did I win that fight, I went in there and I absolutely fucking dominated him, so it only worked if you go in there and win. If you go in there and you fucking talk shit, it doesn't matter if you don't get the W. But I think people are starting to realize, holy shit, this kid is for real on the mic and he's for real in the cage. So it's only going to get bigger and better. I know I've only been in this fucking Bellator for about a year now. Just imagine how it's going to be in more time.
So, look, everyone knows you for your tenacity, your cardio, the way you wrestled. They know that you wrestled out of Purdue. They know that you've got the mouth on you. The F word's your favorite word. They all know that stuff. Okay? We get that. John's counting behind the back of you when he's interviewing how many F-bombs you drop.
Yeah, it was legendary.
Those are things that you're going to care. The fans are just going to remember you for. But I want you to sit on the show right now and tell fans and everyone listening, what is it that they don't know about you? Where were you born? Where'd you come from? Family stuff or whatever, college stuff. Give us some information about you that I can't read online.
Yeah, mainly everything you see online and under the spotlight really is just me. If you go back and watch my previous fights on the regional scene, I was doing the same thing. I was getting in my opponents' heads and putting on a show for them. Even back in wrestling where it's not too much of a showbiz and you can't really talk too much trash, I was still the same guy. I was still on message boards talking all this shit to my opponents. I was almost getting thrown out of tournaments when I was in high school and in college. So I'm pretty much been the same guy consistently throughout my entire career, whether it's in fighting or in wrestling. So I don't really have too much where, oh man, well, did you know Danny Sabatello, blah, blah, blah. I don't really have that. I'm human just like everybody else. I make so many fucking mistakes. I've probably made more mistakes than anybody else. But I'm somebody that is always going to push forward. I think a lot of these guys in Bellator and just in MMA in general are afraid to talk shit because they're afraid of the backlash. I don't really give a fuck. This shit obviously only works when I win, but even if I weren't to win, I would still get up and I would still talk shit. I would still show up at the gym the next day. I would shut out all the haters. I know if, for God's sake, in the second I lose, I know that I'm going to have a zillion fucking comments and losers and miserable people talking shit on my Instagram, on my Twitter, but I don't really give a fuck. So, again, I think everybody is afraid if they lose to get all that backlash, but you know what? I only give a fuck about the opinions of my family, my friends, my coaches, my teammates, and myself. Everyone else can just fuck off.
You know what? You just mimicked everything I tell every fighter, man. If you start caring about all the internet trolls and everything about what they're saying, you have lost sight on what is important. But Josh was trying to go back.
That's my job, bro. That's what all I do is surf our comments to see how much shit I can read up about how much they talk about me, how much trash they hate on me.
And it's crazy because usually the people that are talking shit don't know anything about fucking fighting. Fucking losers. Dude, I get comments and threats all the time, and I'll just entertain it for a second, and I'll go to their profile, and it's just some 12-year-old kid. It's ridiculous.
Look at Josh was trying to get some of the background. I want to get some of the background. You were a 2-time state champion in Illinois from high school. That's outstanding. That's a hell of an accomplishment. Then you went to Purdue. What was it after your wrestling career at Purdue was over? What was it that made you travel down into Florida to go to ATT to start your MMA career?
Yeah, so my entire life, I always knew I was going to get into fighting. You know, my one true love was fighting, but I had to accomplish my goals and my dreams in wrestling first. You know, I really tried to steer clear of having any thoughts on fighting and just completely go full steam ahead with wrestling because it's such a fucking tough sport. You got to be all in. So I did. I won state twice in Illinois, which is a great wrestling state, probably top 3 in the nation. Then I went and wrestled at Division I in the Big Ten at Purdue University. And even towards the end of my career, I knew I was going to, holy shit, man, I just want to put my hands on somebody and put my fucking elbow through their skull. All I'm trying to do right now is put somebody on their back. That's pussy shit. So obviously once I graduated, I knew I wanted to fucking fight. I was full steam ahead. I moved back to Chicago, but there's not any really good gyms in Chicago, no mega gyms or anything like that. So I was partying a lot. I was hanging out with all my friends and family. You know, that's everybody I know is living there. And it really took the 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series to put myself in check. You know, I was living in Chicago and I lived about a half a mile away from Wrigley Field, and me and my boys were getting fucked up every single Cubs game. And it's just really not the lifestyle of somebody that is trying to become the best fighter on the planet. So after the Cubs won the World Series, I went on about like a week bender and I was just fucked up the entire week. And I kind of just sat down with myself and realized, holy shit, man, I got to make a big change. I'm not going to become a world champion if I keep doing this shit. So, you know, if I'm going to do something right, I'm going to do it big. I'm going to join the best gym in the world, and that's American Top Team down in South Florida. And I didn't know anybody in South Florida at the time. I didn't know anybody in the state of Florida, but I took that big risk, and it was scary at the time, but it's worked itself out.
I saw an interview where you had said you showed up and you just kind of snuck your way in. And then the GM asked, like, hey, you know, who are you? And you're like, oh, yeah, I train here. And he's like, no, you don't. I don't know.
Me and his name's Richie. Me and Richie still talk about it to this day. Dan Lambert brings it up all the time. Whenever he sees me in the gym and I'm walking by, he always says, hey, who are you? Because they're always joking around with me. Yeah, it is a fucking crazy story, but dude, sometimes you got to be crazy to get what you want. You know, I know that I needed that type of training to be in South Florida. I know I needed to belong to the best gym in the world. So I kind of just did what I had to do to make it work. I don't recommend people do that. I don't think it was a smart decision looking back, but you know what? It's all panned itself out.
Yeah, it seems it's worked for you. So that's all that matters in the end. But when you look at ATT, what is it that makes that place so special as far as, is it the coaches? Is it the athletes? Is it the owner and Dan Lambert, a guy that is willing to put whatever it takes into it to make it a success? What is it that makes that place so special?
He's also willing to bet hundreds of thousands of dollars on his athletes.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Dan is a wild man. He is crazy in himself. That's why it works, because Dan Lambert really heads the whole thing, and he understands fighters. You know, he used to compete and all that. But it really is just a mixture of everything, because we got guys coming in from all over the world. You know, we don't just have guys coming in from Nebraska or Illinois or whatever. We got guys coming in for their camps from China, Russia, Dagestan, whatever it may be. I think the good thing is it seems like we have a total buy-in to the system. You know, when you have that big of a group where it is worldwide, it's hard to keep a tight-knit group, but somehow we have accomplished that. So with the buy-in with all the athletes and also the coaches being smart with everything, you know, obviously it does suck when ATT goes against ATT, but they always say it's a good problem to have. You know, a lot of times we got guys fighting each other for belts. So it is complicated when that happens, but obviously that's a good problem to have. I don't really have a complete answer to say why it is so amazing. But once you go down there and you get the feel for it, if you even step in foot of the gym and you watch a sparring session, you realize, holy fuck, these guys mean business. And everybody there is pretty much on board to try to be the best fighter in the fucking world. You know, I always say it, a lot of fighters are fucking pussies out there. A lot of fighters are not trying to be the best fighter in the world. They just want to say they're fighters. They just want to let everybody know and tell their boys and their friends that they're fighters. But everybody at American Top Team is trying to become the best fighter in the world.
When you're watching them all get after it, who right now is somebody that maybe somebody doesn't know that they should try to keep an eye on out of American Top Team?
Dude, for a while, I've been saying Hanato Moicano is a bad fucking guy. He obviously had a great fight, his last fight, and he was electric on the mic, which helped him out. But that guy, if you watch him in the gym, he beats the fuck out of everybody. I've seen him spar heavyweights and fuck them up. He could spar anybody on the ground, on the feet. He's very good. I know he's not really a guy that's on the regional level, and holy shit, I should look out for him. But I'm telling you, that guy can become a world fucking champion. But we got so many guys like that. You know what? When I am going across the room and I look to my left and I got Pedro Munoz, and I look to my right and I got Marlon Moraes, there's also these other studs on the regional scene that are going to be coming up. The good thing with American Top Team is it's a filtration system. You know, we got fucking champions and awesome guys like Dustin Poirier and Masvidal and Joanna Jacek. But then we also have up-and-comers like myself.
Who is it that you find that you're in there and they're your main training partners most of the time?
Yeah, me and Pedro Munoz, I would say he's my main guy. We go all the time. He's really helping me a lot out for this fight because Stots is a southpaw, and we don't really have too many southpaws my weight at the gym, but Pedro does a really good job of switching stances. He's a little bit shorter than me, and so is Stots. So I've been working with him for this upcoming fight with Stots, and I've really worked with him throughout my entire career. Because you know what? I always say I'm not in a fucking training camp right now. I'm in a training camp throughout my career. I go to the best gym in the world twice a day, every day, no matter what, whether I'm in fucking camp or not in camp. So not only am I training to beat Rafian Stots, I'm training to beat fucking everybody. You know, if I learn something against an orthodox fighter right now, that may come in handy in a couple of years. Who knows? You know I do have a southpaw on my hands, but I'm just trying to become a better mixed martial artist in general. But obviously, as we get closer to the fight, we're 2 weeks out. You know, it's next weekend at the Mohegan Sun. Obviously, I'm zeroing in on Rafian Stots, but I'm just trying to become better no matter where it is. And I have a plethora of fucking fighters down at American Top Team that'll give me every single look in the book.
You know, Rafian's got a good wrestling background as well. Fantastic wrestling background as well. When you look at the two, there you go. When you look at the two, though, his style of wrestling is a lot different. His style is more of like sprawl, brawl, make the space. You know, he's not trying to really get after you. Like you're just aggressiveness of just that kind of that Boilermaker Purdue style of wrestling. Just grind, hang on the head, get busy. You have them shot, reshot, all of that stuff. That's a different style of wrestling that he is bringing to the MMA cage, I should say. How do you look to exploit him in that area right now, knowing that that's really like going to be your bread and butter?
Yeah, he's not relentless at all. You know, I'm more of a guy that's like a dog on the bone. You know, I'm just going to keep fucking coming after it. If I shoot for a shot, even if I don't get it, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to be coming in about 10, 15, 20 more seconds again at it. He's not really like that. He's a very athletic guy. You know, he can get his hips back, and it's good in MMA. You don't really have wrestling shoes, so it's really slippery on your ankles. So it's obviously good in his favor in this MMA wrestling. You know, there's a huge difference between pure wrestling and MMA wrestling. In this fight, I don't really think it fucking matters. I would tech him in a wrestling match, and I'll beat the shit out of him December 9th in an actually MMA grappling match. But I don't see his wrestling on par with mine. Maybe I'm overlooking something. You know, I've been saying it this entire fight camp and all these interviews. There must be something I'm not seeing. I don't think his grappling is that good. I know he had a pretty big test against Magomed, the Russian, in his fight 2 fights ago, I believe. And I don't think that Magomed guy has that good of grappling either. You know, obviously it's going to be different once I get in there and get a feel for it. Then I'll be able to gauge it. But when I'm sitting down with my coaches and we're reviewing film and we're going over tape, there's just not much there for me to work with and giving him a compliment on him being good. I honestly think he fucking sucks. I don't think his stand-up is good either. But, yeah, his grappling and his MMA wrestling isn't that good. He doesn't have too heavy of pressure. He doesn't suffocate with you with his hips or get you in these fucking crazy positions or so much weight on you. He just kind of, you can tell he has a wrestling background because he utilizes it sometimes. But again, I think we're just going to see me absolutely maul him. You know, I don't want this to be just a grappling fight. I do want to show my striking in this fight because I don't think he's very good. But I do want to beat the shit out of him on the ground because he did say that he's a better wrestler than me, which is absolutely fucking crazy.
Well, you got to understand, here's a guy coming. He wrestled at Division II, Nebraska Kearney. He was a 2-time NC2A champion. You got to give it up. He's got some accolades behind him.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's not shit to a fucking Division One Big Ten wrestler. I honestly think I would fucking beat him if I had my eyes closed. If we actually did a wrestling match and I closed my eyes, I'm not saying I would tech him, but I would for sure major him. I don't think that he has the accolades. He keeps talking about how he's a fucking Division Two, Division Three JUCO. I don't even know what the fuck he is. He keeps saying that. I've never heard someone brag about being that to a Big Ten Division One wrestler. It's absolutely hilarious, but the guy's not too fucking intelligent. I also don't think he fights too smart. I see him fucking winding up for shots. I want to get him so fucking pissed off. I want to have him knock my fucking head off. I know I'm already in his head. I know he wants to fucking kill me. You're going to see that in the first round. I think he's going to be swinging heavy. He's going to be throwing everything under the wing to try to get me out of there in the first. And usually that's when you make mistakes. You slip up and you get more tired. And I'm going to take that as my advantage.
There's been a lot of trash talk back and forth. Is there anything that's gotten under your skin a little bit from him? Is there anything you feel like you've gotten under his skin with anything you've said? Because I know we've had you before in terms of talking to you in fighter meetings. And you've said, look, I keep it about the opponent. I don't talk about your family. I don't talk about anything outside of, I talk about you. Have you noticed a change in him a little bit since this has been face-to-face in a couple interviews?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a couple rules with my trash talk. You know, I don't involve family, religion, or anything like that. I don't see a need for it. I don't even think it sells fights or anything like that anyways. Plus, it just wouldn't be genuine because I don't give a fuck about the guy's family or religion or anything like that. But nothing's really gotten under my skin. You know, people think that he's a good trash talker, but he's not a fucking good trash talker. He is a trash talker, which makes it seem like maybe he's good because not a lot of MMA guys do talk trash. So when you come across him, you think he's good at it, but he's fucking not. He stutters all the time. And our trash talk is just so different. Mine's actually good. You know, if you look at his fucking Instagram, he has me compared to some Disney cartoon fucking bullshit person. I don't know. He's talking about Disney Channel over there comparing me to a cartoon, and I'm over here talking about putting my fucking elbow through his skull. So there's a little bit of a difference between the trash talk. I think he's silly. I think he's funny with it. I don't think he's good at it. I'm glad he is talking shit because it makes it more fun for me. But again, I don't think he's very good at it.
I know that you are you and you're original, and that's what I love about you. But is there anybody in MMA that you go, he's a good trash talker besides yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I am aware that trash talking is good for the sport. I know that it does sell fights. It's just a bonus for me because I don't have to be anybody that I'm not, and I don't have to put on this front. I could just have fun with it. You know, at the end of the day, fighting is fucking fun to me. Everything outside of it is fun to me. The interviews, the trash talking, all of it is fun with me. It's a career that you better fucking love, and you better love everything that has come along with it. And I really do. I enjoy every fucking thing about it. Obviously, the true love is actually getting in there in the cage and slicing somebody open. But in terms of somebody else that's trash talking, obviously Conor McGregor and Chael Sonnen are the OGs at it. They both are just so fucking good at it. Obviously, they're really good for the sport. You can have your opinions on Conor and Chael or whoever else is talking trash, but Conor and Chael have really transformed the sport. They've made it what it is. Whether you like them or not, you have to respect what they have done for the sport.
I don't want to think too far ahead, but I know you've got your eye probably across the bracket. You've got, Patchy Mix versus Magomedov. When you're breaking that fight down, how do you see that fight going?
Yeah, I think they both suck. I think Rafael Stots is not very good, but he is better than both those guys. So my side of the bracket is so much tougher than the other side. If you look at the other side, you see two little pipsqueaks going at it, and it's going to be funny what happens December 9th. I don't really have a fucking prediction of what happens. Patchy is only good in one area when he gets your back and he has that little body lock position. He's really good there, but other than that, he looks like a fish out of water. When he fought James Gallagher, I thought that was the funniest fight of all time. They both look like they absolutely sucked. With Magomed, I think he's a little bit tricky sometimes because he throws a lot of spinning attacks. That can be very dangerous because we got small gloves on and your life can be put out like that. But yeah, I don't really know how that's going to go. I think Patchy's going to actually want to take it to the ground, but Magomed might want to as well because he thinks he's a grappler. I think it's going to be on the feet probably for the first round, and then the remainder of the fight will probably go to the ground where they're both comfortable most. If I had to guess, I would say Magomed, but I'm not too confident in it.
Which one are you looking if you had to fight? Either one, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. I think I could expose both of them. I think there's areas both in their game that would make me look really good going up against them. So in terms of a stylistic matchup, I don't really give a shit. I think I fucking punk both of them. But I know Magomed doesn't talk that much English, so we won't really have too much banter back and forth. So that's really not too much fun. I know Patchy will actually fucking talk to me and talk some trash back. That could be fun. So I don't want to say I want Patchy to win so we can talk trash, or I want him to win because I actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I wish they both fucking lose. I wish they both fucking head kick each other and both knock each other out. But I guess I would say it would be more fun if it was Patchy. But again, I don't give a fuck.
John, that brought up a very interesting question. In a tournament format, if both guys knock themselves out in the semifinals, what do you do for the finals?
We do have an alternate, and that alternate would be put in there. But it's also what can happen is, depending upon where it is in the fight, because it's a tournament format, the judges are advised that they may be asked, if it becomes a draw or a no contest, they may be asked to say who should go forward in the tournament, and they'll give their opinion on who should be the person that moves forward.
Wouldn't you just reschedule the fight?
Well, I think that has happened somewhere along the way,
Wow.
but we don't want to reschedule because
that is odd.
That would be extremely odd.
there's a lot of things that can go on. Tournament-based formats, sometimes it's you got to do things a little different because think about it. If you go and you do win this fight against Rafion, you're sitting there with the interim title. And now these guys have to go and fight again. So now they have to give them an additional couple of months, to recover, get back in a training camp.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting there doing nothing. It's not really fair to you either.
No.
Right. I wouldn't be fighting for a while.
Yeah, but it's also not fair for an alternate to slide up in there, right? Somebody you haven't really had your eye on. And just
come on, man. That happened long ago. What are we talking about here?
I know. But then
go back to UFC 3. Who won that? Who won it?
Some alternate.
Alternate won that?
An alternate named Steve Jenham. He was a Nebraska police officer.
No way.
Yeah.
That's badass. That a fucking badass.
I have a question, John. Maybe you jog my memory. I know I was there, but it was Matt Mitrione and Fedor. They both had the double knockdown. Was that in the tournament?
No, that was just
a fight.
New York City. Yeah.
Got it. I remember it was in New York. I remember that. But I was trying to remember if that was the beginning of that tournament or if
that heavyweight tournament. No, they didn't face each other in that.
I do love the fucking tournament, though. I think it's a really good idea. I think all the other sports out there, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, they have the fucking playoff. And this is our playoff. You have fans out there. You want to have everybody get on board with MMA. You want to build the fucking sport and have casuals tag along to the sport. I think they would like this fucking Grand Prix thing. Because in fighting, you can kind of cherry pick who gets the title shots. And you'll always have dumbass fans saying, oh, did they deserve the title shot? Did they actually become the champion? Are they the best? With this Grand Prix, you have to fucking prove it. When I am the Grand Prix champion, I will be the best bantamweight on planet Earth because I went through the fucking tournament. Nobody's going to be able to say, oh, he just got a title shot randomly.
Yeah.
So I do think it is good, and I think that it mimics the other sports.
Speaking of the tournament format, right now we've got the biggest tournament in the world going on, which is the World Cup. U.S. played Iran today. Did you watch a little bit of that? Did you catch any of that?
I didn't, but I know USA won.
Yeah, they won 1-0. Should have been 2. There was an offsides that shouldn't have been called back. It was like the tip of his knee was offsides.
Yeah, I'm not a huge soccer guy. I put it on for 5 minutes, but it's just if it's not violent, if someone's not putting their elbow through your face.
You don't love the flopping? You don't love the
it drives me to distraction.
I don't get it. That's part of the sport.
Yeah.
I don't fucking get it.
It's horrible.
People eat it up. They love it.
It's horrible.
I saw a guy one time lay on the fucking ground for 5 fucking minutes. I thought he was gonna die. He got up 2 seconds after that and was fine.
The greatest thing I ever saw in soccer is there's a player, female player. She plays at New Mexico State. They're playing Brigham Young. This girl is all over the field. She's yanking girls down. She's kicking them. She's doing all kinds of dirty shit. She got in trouble for it, but I loved her, and I would watch soccer if it was played the way she plays it.
But if you
100%,
if you watch the women's U.S. National team, they don't flop as much as the men. The men are all over the place, man. It's kind of embarrassing, but I'm a big fan of soccer, man. I love watching it. So,
who's your team?
Oh, I mean, like I'm watching the U.S. the World Cup right now, so I really only watch kind of when the U.S. plays, and that's it. The women, men and women. I love watching either the Olympics or the World Cup. I don't really get into the European leagues. It's just there's too much money, it's too much flopping. There's a lot on stake, and I just can't watch it. And plus the time changes. I'm like, I'm not staying up late to watch these games. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not that committed. You know?
Yeah, no way.
Let's bring you back to the World Grand Prix, because like we said, you have 2 fights in a row that I always say it's awesome when you have that target. You can put that target on something and you have something, it's a goal and you're working towards it, and it just gives you that motivation to be the best you can be. You've got it twice here because you have Rafion Stots, who is in possession of the interim title, the only title that there is in the Bantamweight Grand Prix, since Sergio Pettis is not part of the Grand Prix. So you have that. So if you get a win against him, now you will be the champion going into the finals, and there's $1 million payday at the end of that, on top of what your normal, contract gives you and stuff. Have you ever thought about what you're going to do if you win that $1 million?
No, I'm not really. Honestly, I'm not a big money guy. I don't think it's very intelligent if you're in my position like this to start thinking about the money, because then you start getting ahead of yourself and you get motivated by different things. Right now, my motivation is to fucking beat the shit out of Rafion Stots. You keep saying he has the interim title, but to me, he actually has the title because Sergio Pettis is a little bitch. He's a pussy. He couldn't make it to the fucking tournament. So when I do beat Rafion Stots, I will be the Bellator Bantamweight champion of the world. I don't care what fucking Sergio or anybody else says. So to me, it is the fucking for the title. And plus, I think people understand from a skill standpoint, me and Rafion Stots are the best guys in the division. But yeah, I don't really care too much for the money. Obviously, it's going to be really nice. I can think of a bunch of things to do. I can party with some models in Italy on a yacht. Of course, it's going to be fucking sick. But I don't really have anything that I really want or something that I need with that money. I'm going to have fun with it. Obviously, I'm not going to be too fucking stupid with it. I mean, I might be a little stupid with it, but who cares? Whatever. But yeah, to me right now, a lot of people are fucking rich these days. A lot of people have $1 million. Average people have $1 million. Fucking idiots have $1 million. But there's only one best fucking fighter in the world, and that's what I'm chasing.
So who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Yeah, it's going to be my boy, Aaron Asset, who was my teammate back at Purdue. He helps me during fight week with weight cutting. We kind of grapple a lot. And he's kind of just there to have my back. I know these fucking idiots, Patchy and Magomed and Stots, are going to be around the hotel and wait for me to slip up. They're going to bring out their stupid-ass phone and try to fucking film me and be like, oh, what you got to say? Nah. So he's going to be there to have my back and make sure nothing goes south. If somebody pulls up on me behind my back and we have to throw down, he's going to be there. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully it makes it to the fucking cage December 9th, but you never know. So obviously he's going to be there to have my back, and I'm going to have my head coach, Mike Brown, who I'm very close with. I just believe whatever he says. If he says to do something, do it. If he says go into this fight with Stots and fight blindfolded, I would fucking do it because I have that much faith in that guy. And then it's also going to be my Muay Thai coach, Coach Anderson, and then probably my boxing coach, Gabriel.
What makes Mike Brown so special? I've heard from Dustin. I've heard from all the other fighters out of that gym, and even Mo Lawal would talk about how great he was and what was good for him. But what makes him special for you?
Dude, he is absolutely obsessed with the sport. He is in the gym more than anybody else, more than any of the other coaches, more than any of the other fighters. He is constantly evolving, and he's always bringing up stuff on his phone where he was taking a little clip from this weekend's UFC or Bellator event or PFL or One or Ryzen, and he's like, look what this guy did. I think this could work, whether it's against an orthodox guy or a southpaw. He's just an absolute mastermind. He's a genius when it comes to MMA. His technique is so solid. And he's just so smart with things. Obviously he's got the experience. He's been in world title fights. He can bring that aspect. But he's also just really intelligent everywhere. He's not really a boxing coach or a wrestling coach or a grappling coach or anything. He is a coach everywhere. He can coach you no matter what the fuck it is. And plus he's just a good guy. He's kind of a guy that you want to go into battle with. He would have your back no matter what. He's a very loyal individual, and he's a really fucking nice guy. But you know what? Who cares about if you're a nice guy or not? Can he coach you to a world title? And Mike Brown is going to do that with me.
Have you ever gone back and watched any of Mike's fights when he was a fighter?
Not in a while. When I grew up, I fucking watched him all the time. he was one of my favorite fighters growing up. So it's still kind of crazy when like he's in my corner and I'm listening to him. I'm kind of like fanboying him. He's saying something to me, and inside I'm like, holy shit, you're fucking Mike Brown. But yeah, it's crazy. I haven't watched any of his fights recently.
I'll tell you what, there was a moment when he was in the WEC. It's when he became the champ. He was so good and he was so smooth at everything. And you just looked and you said, God damn, man, I remember when he kind of relied on wrestling for a while, and then it was just everything flowed for him, and just a great fighter. And he's just gone on from there and become an even better coach. Everybody that I know that works with him loves him, and how can you not? He's just a great human being. So
yeah, absolutely. And not only is he coaching, I just had practice with him and it was me and him. It wasn't like me and a fucking other teammate and he's coaching us. I was actually rolling with Mike Brown, and that's you kind of relate to somebody like that. If you have a coach that's always just telling you what to do and not kind of like showing it or doing it on you or anything like that, it's different. But with him, it's like I'm rolling with him twice a week, every single week. So it's kind of like he's also my teammate.
When you are there at ATT and then you have these groups, did you get a little bit more motivation out of having these guys watching you spar? Are you guys all working together? Is there a little bit more extra motivation out of it all?
Yeah, 100%. When you got fucking high level fighters, and really now MMA guys are celebrities. So when you got all eyes on you, it's a little more oomph in there. You kind of want to go a little bit harder. You're trying to go hard for not just yourself, but your teammates. You're reminded that you're not only representing your last name, but you're representing your teammates. And then you start thinking, holy shit, you're representing your family and your friends. And it's just awesome to be in there, having people having your back. When I walk through the halls, everybody's saying what's up to me. I'm a very good teammate. People think I'm a fucking piece of shit, but I'm not a piece of shit all the time. I might be a piece of shit to my fucking enemy.
That's
the fucking
okay.
guy in the cage.
That's okay.
The guy in the cage that's trying to fucking beat me and trying to paralyze me, of course I'm going to talk shit to and be a piece of shit too. But when you talk to me, when I'm around my fucking teammates or friends or family, I'm obviously a really good guy. So everybody at the gym fucking loves me. But yeah, it's great when they're watching me spar. Obviously, I'm becoming a little bit more popular and people are kind of saying things to me, saying that they're watching my rise and they're really happy for me because they remember when I first started coming to the gym. So obviously there's extra motivation there, but I'm just a motivated guy in general. I'm always fucking motivated. That's just who I am. I'm very energetic, passionate, and motivated. I'll be motivated no matter what. Even after this fucking podcast and interview, I'm going to be so motivated because I was like, holy shit, I just talked to two fucking legends. I'm always motivated.
How much has your life changed since entering the tournament, having success? I mean, you guys are the main event now in the semifinals, in Mohegan Sun next week. I mean, there's a lot going on. You guys have really carried this, like John was saying. You guys have kind of carried the bantamweight in the shit talking, but in the promotion of it all as well. You've got Bellator pushing you guys because you guys are the talking mouthpieces.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it has changed a little bit because it's kind of sick right now. I'm living out my dream. It's going according to plan and everything that I really envisioned it to. But it hasn't changed too much. I always say my friends and family are going to care about me regardless. This isn't a stipulation where if I lose, my friends and family aren't going to love me any little or more. So it's really just kind of how the outside world has treated me. But at the end of the day, I only care about the views of my family and my friends and kind of just my goals. I'm a very goal-oriented person. I need to accomplish my goals. I need to become the Bellator Bantamweight champion and become the best fighter in the world at Bantamweight. I need to do that. And that's really all I care about. So if my life does change where I get a little bit more scratch in my pocket or a little bit more autographs or pictures with friends, that is fucking awesome. I fucking love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm always great to people that are asking for pictures. But at the end of the day, I don't really give a fuck. I just care about accomplishing my goals and being good to my family and my friends and having a fucking fun-ass time.
You're coming up on fight week now, and how do you start dialing it down right now? And then how does your fight week turn out?
Yeah, it's hard to dial it down. Right now, I'm just becoming so antsy because we're finally here. I do a good job of calming down, especially in my fights, especially right before the fights. I got a cool, calm, collected mind. But right now, it's kind of just in this zone of, holy shit, we're here, but we're not exactly here. So it's kind of hard to not go through every type of scenario that can happen in the fight, not go back and watch more of his fights. Right now, the hay is kind of in the barn already. The fight is already going to be won or lost. There's not really too much you can do. Obviously, it's MMA and something can be crazy and you could throw a spinning back fist and end it. But right now, I think it's already decided. The MMA gods have already decided who's going to win this fight. And it's obviously going to be me because I'm so much better everywhere than this motherfucker. But Yeah, right now I just kind of go through everything with fight week. I stay mentally sharp. I shun out everything else. I don't even entertain any other bullshit. I don't really go out too much. I kind of like being a caged animal before I go out there in the actual fucking cage. But that's just kind of who I am. I'm old school about all that shit. I kind of just stay mentally sharp and just make sure that I'm ready to fucking go and feeling good.
Two-part question. When it comes to 5 rounds, the whole tournament's been 5 rounds. You had the 5-round fight against Higo. Do you think that benefits you since you are a cardio monster? You're a guy that's got that fast pace and you can maintain it for a long time. And second off, is this the first time you've been the main event in a big fight? Because what is it going to be like with all the media things and everything that they're going to ask you now to do that you didn't have to do before?
Yeah, the 5-round fights is just absolutely beautiful for me. That is tailor made for my style. I think my best attribute isn't wrestling or grappling, it's actually conditioning. I got a crazy ass gas tank, and it's just reassuring and comforting knowing even if I am somehow down 2 rounds in the books, I could come back and easily win these next 3 rounds because I'm going to have the gas tank to just keep pressuring forward. Obviously, with these 5 rounds in 25 minutes, that's a lot of fucking time to break a guy. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. The fight might be close the first couple of rounds. I don't really know. I hope not. I kind of see it. Maybe it's not, but maybe it is. Who knows? It's chaos in there. But I do see myself breaking everybody if it's a 5-round fight, just because nobody can keep up with that pace. You can have all your skills, but what people don't understand is once you're tired, all your skills and your muscle memory and everything goes out the window. Your reaction time is terrible. And you have these crazy little thoughts in your mind. You don't really realize it, but your subconscious is saying, holy shit, dude, like I might be in over my head. Whether you want yourself to know that or you're telling yourself that, that's actually what's going through your mind when you're dog tired in there and you got blood pumping and it's spewing out of you. You're sweaty as fuck and you have an absolute motherfucking animal in your face still talking to you. It's a lot to fucking come by. And again, I think these 5 rounds are just going to be absolutely terrific with me. With this being a main event, I fucking love it. I want to get this fight as big as possible. I think I'm somebody that shines brightest under the pressure and under all this adversity and everything under the spotlight. You want to give me a spotlight, make it even brighter. You're going to get the best Danny Sabatello. And I also think a lot of people shy away from the pressure and the spotlight. I think Rafian Stots is one of those people. I think once we do get in there, he's going to feel the lights are a little bit brighter. His legs and his arms are going to be a little bit heavier. Obviously I have plotting with my trash talk and my mental warfare. And part of it is having him want to fucking kill me. And I know Rafian Stots does want to do that right now. If you go back and you look at his other interviews and his other fights, he might talk a little trash here and there, but not what he's doing with me. When you fight me, you have to go about it a little bit differently. You have to talk trash a certain way. So anytime I have these guys fighting me, I change them. I change their whole fucking careers. People keep saying, holy shit, Danny Sabatello and Rafian Stots came out of nowhere. No motherfuckers. Rafian Stots is 33 or 34 years old. He's been in this business. He's nothing new. He's nothing crazy. I came out of nowhere.
Oh, man. You're fucking cracking me up, brother. The last thing I'm going to ask you from my side is, how are you going to get this thing done?
Yeah, I think 4th round TKO. I do want to show off my hands. I do want to show off my grappling. At the end of the day, I absolutely love fighting. So if I were to go in there and have all this hype behind the fight and I get a 1st round finish, obviously I'm going to be fucking happy. I just won. Anytime you win, you have to be happy. Anytime you finish someone, you have to be happy. But I actually do want a fucking war in there. I do want to torture him and drag him into deep waters, as everybody keeps saying. And I just want to fight. I do this shit because I absolutely love fighting. I love the combat behind it. I love the mano-a-mano, one-on-one, inside of a fucking cage in front of your friends and family. Let's see what the fuck you got. Let's see what you got if you get sliced open or in a guillotine or an armbar or something like that. That's how you really learn who somebody is. And I just want my war with Rafian Stots, so I'm hoping he can survive past the first 3 rounds. I want to taste championship rounds, and in that 4th round, that's when I want to get it done. I want to be too much pressure for him, too much torture for him, slicing him up, too many submission attempts, and eventually he'll either tap or I'll TKO him.
100% agree.